Howdy folks, Little John in the brewery. Brew day. Today I'm doing a brew in a bag Summer Ale. Fairly simple brew, using the 50 litre NANO kettle. Done extract in this one recently. I am in the process of revamping my 3V system, which this is part of. But today I'm sticking on just brew in a bag. I'm using the big heavy duty false bottom. You can see she's fairly solid bit of gear. She's good heavy bloody perforated steel. She's got the good ring which fits in, so you've got access for the element on this side and also for your outlet. So this will normally run with all grain running through the system, and you just mash on top of this. But today I'm going to stick a bag in here, so I'm just going to pop this fella in. Now it needs to go that way. Right on, that sits in there nicely. It's not super tight, but it's got a fairly small margin around the edge, so be nice to see how that goes with grain when we get to it. But that's it. So she's in. I'm going to get water in here, get this topped up, and while that's coming up to temperature, I'll sit down and have a chat about what we're doing with the brew. Rightio. Before we get into any more details, big shout out to Little John's patrons. Guys, thank you as always for your support. If you're interested in Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Click on that. There's bonuses, Recipe of the Month, extra videos, prize draws, and you get to support the channel. Make sure I can keep doing all the experiments and things that I do on the channel. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you are, thank you very much. And either way, if you're watching, hit the thumbs up down there as well. Give us a like. So all those things help keep the channel going. Bit of coffee early. We'll be on the beers later. But anyway, as I said, Summer Ale. I'm calling this one Swindle Me, because I'm taking a little bit of homage from the old James Squire Swindler, not the new version, the original version, which was a Summer Ale, and wasn't a bad drop for what it was, considering the quality that sometimes can come out of James Squire can be a bit lacking. But the old Summer Swindler wasn't too bad. They've changed it now. I think now it's actually a Pacific Ale. They're trying to, I think they're just chasing the current market to some degree. But anyway, so I'm just after something nice and easy, simple and light. So almost a smash, but not quite. So I've got the pot going over here. I'm doing aiming for 18 litres in the fermenter, so I've got 25 litres of water in the kettle, coming up the temperature. While that's coming up the temperature, I've got the grain milled. That grain is 3.3 kilos of, I'm using Bladfield ale malt. Realistically, you could use any pale ale malt you want. To that I'm also adding, well, the recipe I've got had 200 grams of flake corn, because this is the bag of flake corn I've got. That's all I've got left. And wasn't sure exactly what I had when I was throwing the recipe together. I've actually got about 250 grams, so I'm going to throw all that in. And that's all that's going in the mash. I'm going to mash that at 63 degrees for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to raise it to 70 degrees for 30 minutes. That's it. I'll pull the bag. So I'm not going for my normal 72 rest or a 75. I'm taking those numbers from Brewfather. This is That's two numbers they put for a high fermentable wort. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the 70 degrees. I think I would rather see 72 because I do find like 72 does promote nice head retention. But I'm going to run with that. So, a 60-minute mash. I'll include the ramp temperature from the 63 to 70 in that 30 minutes. So it's only going to be a straight hour mash. Now I'm not running any recirculation at all on the pot. I'm going to be manually keeping an eye on the temperature and switching the element on and off as I need to. So I'll be giving this a good stir probably every 10 minutes. I'm out in the brewery. I'm not going anywhere. So I'll be keeping an eye on this one. So give it a stir every 10 minutes, which I'm hoping will A, give me some nice efficiency, and B, will make sure I can keep an eye on the temperature and keep it in a decent sort of a range. And again, ideally, yes, I'd have the pump on that, and I'd be recirculating, and I'd be running the probe on it, the temp probe, and kicking it in and out as I needed to. But again, looking at what most people are running at home, generally you're doing bean a bag, you're running a pot and a heat source, and you've got to manually control. So that's where we're going. I'm not too concerned about that. I've set my efficiency on the recipe at 62.5%. Because I find generally on brewing a bag I've always got 60 to 63. I'm hoping with a good stirring we can get 62.5. We'll see where we end up. So target gravity is 1038. So 1030, yeah, 1038. So that's where we're aiming for. Pretty well, not sure. I'll have to pop the day numbers. We'll have a look at that shortly. But this is almost up to temperature. So we'll flip over. We'll get this mash underway. So I'll shut the element off. That should get us close to where we want to go. Nice new bag. I've not used. I've given a couple of these away to Patreons as prizes. I've not used one myself. They're the big bugger from Kegland. I ordered a few of them when they're a good size. Pop him in. Good. A couple of pegs to hold him in place. Now I've got to be careful on this. So I've got the temperature probe from the thermometer on the front. So I've got to be careful I don't rip the bag on that. But here we go. Might as well just go the whole lot in one go. And then just giving him a good mix. Now this is going to be a very thin mash. But this is what you get when you full volume brew on the bag. But as always, anything, if you're using grain, you've got to make sure you get all the dough balls out. And there's a big one right there. Because that will knock your efficiency around if you don't get them. We are corning while we go. I'm pretty happy with that. So, lid on, and I'll give that 10. I'll come back and give it another stir. So we'll have a look at. Come back half an hour. And have a look. We'll start to raise the temperature, and we'll have a look at how our gravity's progressing. Righto, half our mash is done at 63. I've raised the temp up. We'll be up to 70. I'll give it another stir. So I've stirred this twice as we've gone through. This is the third stir it's now had. Just took a refract sample. We were at 1033. I'm aiming for 1031 pre-boiled. Still got 1.5 litres to go in here to rinse the bag after the mash, so we're looking pretty good. So we'll let this go now, and we'll come back at the end of the mash, check our final gravity, and then start getting towards the boil. Righto, mash is done. I'll get this bag out here. I've put the element back on. I'll start heating to a boil. We've managed to maintain temperature reasonably well. I think I've had to flick the heat on maybe 4 times over the hour. The mash is starting to look reasonably clear what's in there. So, actually remembered to put on my heat resistant gloves today. Normally if I bloody forget about them, I just go in barehanded and then regret that decision. All these agents are going, always forget about them. So today, I've got them in. Bag out. Now, as I said, we did do full volume, but still needs even with full volume, I still think you should need a little bit just to rinse the sugars out of the grain a little bit. So only just pick that one kettle of water. So yeah, 1.5 litres or thereabouts of water, just to rinse that goodness, all those little bits of sugar out. No good leaving them in the bag, I say. We'll bring this up to our full volume. It should. Alright, that's it. So, alright, I'll just let that drain for now while she comes to a boil. So I'll let this go for, let it go for 10 minutes and I'll come back. I'll get a pre-boil gravity reading and we'll sit down and we'll talk about some hops. Righto, boil is underway. Thank you. Righto, so I'm boiling for 40 minutes. And first hops will go in at 30, and those, hang on, before we get into the hops, let's check our pre-boil volume is pretty well spot on. Let's check our gravity. Okay, that's telling me 1040. 1040, I think we're looking for pre-boil 1031. Shit. Well, we're fucking well over that. Crikey. Hops. So our first addition of hops, which is going to go in with 30 minutes left in the boil, will be 10 grams of Amarillo. So 10 of Amarillo. Now, I was then going to go another 17 grams of Amarillo with 5 minutes left of the boil, and then 26 grams of strata at flame out, and I was just going to let it cool to 15, well, to 15, just going to let it sit for 15 minutes and then cool. So there's no flame out, no whirlpool hop in this fella. But what I have come across is that I haven't got 27 grams of them. Well, hang on. Be truthful, I do have 27 grams of Amarillo. I found this packet running loose in the fridge, in the freezer. I've got a brand new packet. This one weighed up to 27 grams with the bag. So there's probably about maybe 12 or 13 grams. I'm pretty sure these bags that's going to weigh up about 4 grams. Might even be less. So what I'm going to do is I'll make up the balance with some Citra. So it's going to work out probably half and half Citra, probably about 9 grams of Amarillo, about 8 grams of Citra. So that won't make a huge amount of difference to the overall effect. It will probably give me maybe one and a half extra IBU just from the extra slightly higher alpha acid in the Citra. But end of the day, it's going to make 2/3 of fuck all difference. So I'm happy. I'm happy enough with that. So that's where we're going with the hops at the moment. So a couple of minutes before this first fella goes in. So we'll hop our way through. Coming up on 10 minutes, so that means we've got to get this other hop addition in. So let's see what Amarillo we've got here. Yeah, got 9 grams, which is what I'd estimated. Go 8 of Citra. Well, it turns out we're going to go 12 of Citra. So that's what we're going to go. Won't hurt. The extra gravity points, a little bit extra hops isn't going to kill us. And that goes. Wolf lock. Okay, so 10 minutes to go. So, as I said, I will measure up 26 grams of strata, which will go in as a flame out. I said I'm going to let that sit for 15 minutes and then cool. So I'll go and get the chiller out, get it in, get it ready to go. Okay, we've gone to the fermenter. I've got pretty close to what I was looking for into the fermenter. It's hard to tell because the measurements are a bit off on the bloody all-rounder. I think I said earlier I was looking for 18 in the fermenter. I was actually looking for 20. I just misread. 18 was the expected amount to bottle from the fermenter, not actually the amount. So I'm reasonably close. I'm probably maybe a litre under. Anyway, I'm not too fussed about that. I'm still honing in the numbers on this pot. And I do have to do a proper calibration on the actual volume on the Fermzilla, on the all-rounder. I'm not sure. I'm only guessing exactly where it is. It could be out by bloody 2 litres. It could be the problem. So either way, sample 1042 is our gravity reading. Actually, let's call it 1044. I suppose 1042. So it's well over where I wanted now. So again, I think with that volume is out by a litre, then that's going to sort of balance that a little bit. I think the efficiency was probably a little bit higher than I'd allowed, and again that can come back to the pH adjustment. I've got higher efficiency in every brew since I've been adjusting the pH with the lactic. Ever since I started using lactic, I've had an increase of between 4 and 7% on every brew. So that's probably a contributing factor as well. So that's just some tweaking I need to nail down. But 1044, I'm happy with that. The recipe calculation is telling me it's going to get to 1007. I don't think there's any way in the world I'm getting to 1007, particularly when there is now no dex in the brew. And that's still an interesting point. There was meant to be 300 grams of dextrose in this recipe as well. So there's a number. There's something amiss somewhere. And I need to track that a little bit, but that's something I'll do off camera. That's all right. I've started doing a little bit of tweaking. It's all good. So, but I'm happy with that. I think the hopping is going to be adequate to hold against that slightly higher gravity. It's quite a light beer. It's going to have no, she's fairly light. It's not got any real big malt presence to hold against the hops, so it's going to be fine. And there is going to be a 60 gram dry hop on day 4. So I'm going to run this the same as the recent NEPA. I'm going to leave the lid loose on the fermenter until day 4 when I put that hop in. I have got I bought some magnets so I can do the hop bag inside the fermenter and drop it on day 4. But again, the reality is I don't want pressure in this fermenter to start with, and part of that reason being I'm pitching US-05, 20 grams of US-05, 1 gram a litre, but I am fermenting this at 12 degrees. Yep. Now, the reason I'm doing that, I've always recommend brewing US-05 at 15 degrees if you want to make a clean beer without going into a lager yeast. But I have seen I did see a post recently where someone had commented about brewing. They'd done a brew with US-05 and it was colder, and it turned out really, really well. So it sort of got me thinking, let's give it a crack, see how it goes. I don't think it's going to hurt the beer in any way, and perhaps it's an alternative option to actual lager yeast. So that's where we go. So it could be a longish ferment. We'll see how it goes. I'll sort of report on that when we get the tasting. Sample's quite light. There's a little bit of hop there, not a lot, but I said it's going to be that big, 60 gram dry hop on day 4. The strata's going to really lift it. I said was after something fairly light and easy going, so I think we've got there. So I said this is going in the fridge shortly. I'm not going to show you anymore. You know what pitching yeast and whatnot looks like. So I'll see you in about 6 weeks for tasting on this fella. So swindle me, Summer Ale. Swindle me a lager, you could possibly say. But either way, that's what's happening. So guys, again, thanks for everyone's support. Thanks for watching. Any comments, any questions, stick them down the bottom. But for now, till I see you again and we're brewing beer, drinking beer, talking beer, good brewing.